The story has been played out every night in Tahrir Square, but tonight is an Egyptian moment right across this country. Streets in every city are clogged with celebration. Hosni Mubarak finally bowed to the inevitable this afternoon and stepped down. A military council has been appointed to run the country in his place, headed by the Defence Minister, Mohammed Tantawi. In effect, this is an army takeover. The cabinet and both houses of parliament have been suspended. But for the crowds out there in Tahrir Square, this is their moment, a people's revolution, as our international editor Lindsay Hilson now reports.
6 o'clock in Cairo, and the news cascaded through the crowd. Across Egypt, millions were on the streets, erupting in excitement. He'd gone. After 30 years, gone. Cars honked their horns. It was a moment like no other in their lives. In Tahrir Square, the protesters were beside themselves. They'd done it. They'd won. They'd brought down President Mubarak.
This is the moment everyone here has been waiting for. They thought it was going to come last night. It didn't. They've had to wait another 24 hours. Rarely can a military takeover have been greeted with such enthusiasm as it is on the streets of Cairo tonight. But in the end, it all came down to one man, Mubarak. And these people say, he's gone.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
For many, it was a joy beyond words.
I can say what I am feeling. I have surprised. I am very happy. I want to do everything I can do. I can jump. I want to burn fire. I don't know what I say. I can't believe it. I can't believe anything.
Tell me what you're feeling tonight.
I can't describe my feeling because it's the first time to feel the revolution, and I think it's a unique feeling. Happy can't describe.
It took us a while. It took us over 18 days, but in the end, I mean, the people have succeeded and we got what we wanted.
A few minutes earlier, Vice President Omar Suleiman had appeared on television.
التي تمر بها البلاد.
In the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate, my dear fellow citizen, in the exceptional circumstances that have been going on in the country, the President Hosni Mubarak decided to step down and to hand over the administration of the country to the High Council of Military Forces.
والله الموفق والمستعان.
Earlier in the day, protesters had gathered outside the presidential palace, not knowing if Mr. Mubarak was still there. Rumours swirled that he'd gone to his home in Sharm el-Sheikh. The military stood guard, no longer loyal, but determined that he should leave with dignity. Officers told the crowd they could go no further. The army has always been the most powerful political force in Egypt. Now it's officially in charge. Demonstrators refused to be contained to Tahrir Square. They were spreading their revolution all over the city. Several thousand went to the TV station, Mubarak's mouthpiece, a symbol of the old regime. These young revolutionaries love the army. The soldiers haven't turned against the protesters. But the question now is, will the military really usher in democracy? But that's a question for tomorrow. Tonight it's simply jubilation. In Tahrir Square, they were already clearing away the barricades. This was the Nile Revolution, and they won. The young people of Egypt did what their elders were too scared to do, challenge the old regime. These were 18 days that shook the Middle East, and nothing will be quite the same again. Lindsay Hilson, Channel 4 News, Cairo.
Now, before we join Lindsay Hilson live, let's just look in the square here. It's now become almost a circus. There are kind of fire eaters in the middle. There are people dancing around what appear almost to be maypoles. There are flags everywhere, the Egyptian flag forever. Quite extraordinary scenes of jubilation and enjoyment. Lindsay, let's just pick up on what the scene is here, because we're just round the corner from Tahrir Square. This is the Nile, bridge over the Nile, utterly jammed with traffic, people on every balustrade, and right down here, people Well, showing off in front of Al Arabiya TV station, which is next door to us, going out across the Middle East. Now, here we have a military takeover of a government that was already a military government, effectively. I mean, it's not a coup, it's a takeover, apparently.
That's right, and the people are incredibly excited because in the end it just came down to one man, President Mubarak. And people here love the army. And in the last statement, which has just been made in the past hour by the military spokesman, he saluted, he gave a military salute to the martyrs of the revolution. By that he meant the people, probably around 300 or more, who have been killed primarily by the security services in the last 18 days of revolution. Now that's an incredible thing for these people. That's an extraordinary amount of respect for the military to show the people. And the final thing they said, the military said, we have no alternative but the legitimacy of the people.
Well, that's of course very true indeed, because they've got to get these people back indoors and back to work. And one wonders how they're going to do it. They will have to do it in tandem with people from the square who are presumably going to be their advisors.
Well, in some ways they are. And I was talking to people yesterday saying that some of these young Twitterers, blog people, Facebook people will be involved in some kind of new government. But we're a long way from that. It's a military government for the moment.
Lindsay Hilson, we'll be talking to her again later in